Hi everyone, welcome back to another moment with Min. And today I want to talk about overcoming offense, overcoming getting offended, overcoming when someone triggers you. When these things happen, what do? Right? And I'm going to teach you the Christian way and Bible verses that I use to help me overcome when I'm getting triggered and when someone offends me. And I'm gonna tell you this, this is like all from my experience, okay, with people I deal with friends, relationship, in work, things like that, in that nature. But unfortunately, it happens more often in your family and close relatives. Remember, the adversary is always using your friends and family, people that's close to you, to get to you. So don't let it get to you. All right. So next time, I always like to use this. Now, remember, okay, John 10:10, right? What did Jesus say, right? The thief come to steal, kill, and destroy. I come so you can have light and more abundantly, right? So you got to remember who the thief is. The thief is adversary. He doesn't want you to be happy. He wants you to be negative. He wants you depressed, be in the dark, because that's who he is, right? And Jesus came to save us, to give us light, so we can be happy and we're in the spirit. Because when you're in the spirit, you're not worried about, what's going on with you physically, what's going on with your job, your life, people around you, what someone said to you. You know, I know it may sound a little tough, but you know what? The more practice you do, I promise you, this is going to help you so much, like it helped me in my life. And people always wonder, why are you always so happy? Wow, you have such a positive attitude. And you know what's funny? Because I recently got saved. Well, I got saved when I was probably 11 or 10, but that time I was young and I felt like I was pressured to, because I used to take Chinese class when I was younger. My family would send us the Chinese class, and right after, the Chinese teacher would have these two missionaries, and they're so sweet. I love them, and they're doing what they think is right. The only thing is that you're taking the kids from their parents, which that's something that I do not agree, because when you're doing that with kids, almost like, telling kids, hey, you want to be a boy, you want to be a girl, hey, here you go. Who do you want to be behind your parents' back? And for that reason, I don't respect that. I felt like they should have the parents' blessing before they do such thing. So anyways, so recently in 2020, something was going on, well, actually through my whole life, I always felt like, sometimes I felt I'm lost, or I'm not worthy, like I'm not deserving, like things like that, just because like my upbringings. And sometimes you just feel like you just never had the love that you wanted from your parents, your mom and your dad, and how you grew up. And because of that, these are lies created in your head that you're not worthy, you don't deserve, and how dare you wish for anything else, right? And because of that, you know, that affects me and play a big role in my life, believe it or not. But thank God for all these people who I knew that was less smarter than me, less worthy, less deserving, nothing to put them down. I'm just saying, and I know you know what I'm talking about. Those people that you deserve more than the other person. And what is that person doing? What is their secret, right? So, anyways, yeah, so thank you for them. I was able to believe, well, I had faith, right? I'm like, if that person could do it, so can I. So can I. But then you can always do affirmations. I am wealthy, I'm wealthy, I'm healthy, I'm healthy. Things like that until you turn blue, okay? But until you actually embody these things, right? And know you're actually worth it, you're not gonna manifest. And okay, even if you manifest it, right? And when it comes to you, you may not be able to hold it. You can't keep it. It's like it slips away. There's always opportunities there. You can touch it, see it, smell it, but then when it comes to hold it, it just drifts away. All right. So I am a Christian life coach, and I'm going to teach you how to manifest your desires through Bible verses and the manifesting with God's promises. But today I'm going to focus on how to overcome offenses. And there's certain Bible scriptures that I absolutely love, and it helped me so much. And I just want to tell you as well, God, our Heavenly Father, wants the best for us. Okay, there's a verse. Which one? 3 John 2. Beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in good health. You see, your Heavenly Father wants you to prosper. And this is one thing that just made me so passionate to share Bible verses, because I never knew these verses was in the Bible. I always thought the Bible was about praising God, worshiping, and doing the right thing, be religious, don't, do this, don't have sex before marriage, don't have kids out of wedlock, things like that. I had no idea the Bible was all about the history and juicy histories that I'm going to share. I'm going to do some videos on different books and the men and the women in the Bible. Okay, I don't know if you guys know, but there's so many contradictions in there, and there was women prophetesses and women judges in the Bible. So when people say women were not able to speak, that's not true, because if you read the whole thing, it's going to tell you exactly what it meant. But okay, that's a little intro to that, but let's stick with this. Okay, how to overcome offense. All right, I am going to read a couple scriptures to you, and this is how to overcome offense. I don't know if you can see that or not right there. And this is from my ministry, The Way course, The Way International. And you can look them up, www.theway.org. They also have Sunday services that you can tune in every Sunday live and watch their service, and it's always amazing. And even the songs too, right? I was like, when I first started, I wasn't like the biggest on singing, but now I love singing, going along with the songs, because they're all positive words. And you want those positive words in your head. So that's the reason why it's always good to sing these songs and keep these positive things inside, and just know that, you are loved and you are worthy and you do deserve. All right, okay. All right, let's go into the word offense. The word offense means like a stumbling block, a trap, okay? Or a prop, something there. Oh wait, I used the prop. Yes, a trap, something there to stop you, preventing you to go to the next level. So that's what offense mean. All right. So like example, again, let's just say we're gonna use example relationship, okay? Because those are always the best examples to use. You are okay, getting ready, but to go out with your wife or your husband, okay? And then all of a sudden, something comes up. You read an email or someone's texting your significant other, and then you guys get an argument over something. That is a stumbling block, right? That's stopping you guys from getting ready, doing what you need to do to go out. Prevention, okay? And there's so many other stumbling blocks. Let's just say you're really good friends with someone, and you found out that this person said something about you and blah, 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 and that just stopped the growth of your relationship. Stumbling blocks, stumbling blocks. Example, you're going out, you're so positive, you're feeling great, and someone says something negative, and you sit there, you're like, oh my gosh, they told me that I look fat, now through the whole night, all you can think about, you look fat, you're going to the mirror, checking your weight, checking your belt, things like that. I look fat, oh, I need to lose weight, things like that. You see what I mean? Those little stumbling blocks are preventing you. And these things are not even real, it's not even true, right? It's just someone putting those little thoughts in your head, and it's not like, oh, you can't. Something more important is preventing you. All right, guys, so I hope those examples help. So yeah, it's important for us to understand how to overcome offense, right? Because now the adversary are always going to put people around you, family members, things like that, to influence you or say something to prevent you from doing something. Okay, like example, let's just say you want to go to church, and then you're laying there with your husband or your wife or your boyfriend, girlfriend, you know, um, and later you just get lazy, like, no, I don't want to go, and not even church. Let's just say, you guys want to do Bible study together, right? And then, oh, I'm not feeling like it. Or then you start watching a movie, start watching something on TV, like the news or something, right? And now that's a stumbling block, isn't it, huh? Like these little things that hang in your way and trick you. Let's just say you want to go read the Bible, but then you start reading a newspaper or something that's more interesting, or you start scrolling on Instagram or Facebook, social media. I get that a lot. Those are distractions, also stumbling blocks. Let's call it a trap stick. All right. All right. Let's go to okay, Ephesians 6:12. Let's go to Ephesians 6:12. For we wrestle not against the flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. You see that? See how the adversary would love for believers to be easily hurt by one another? So, like earlier I mentioned, when someone says something that, say, oh, you look fat, something that hurt your feelings, those are stumbling blocks. So we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the ruler of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickednesses in high places. You see, you don't wrestle against the flesh and the blood, but against the principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. That's the adversary. That's who we wrestle against. So when you allow yourself to be emotionally affected by others, guess who's in charge? That's right. So you got to remember that, okay? So when things like that happen, when I'm having a disagreement or something with friends and family, what I like to do? I like to think about all the positive things about that individual. And it's really funny, when I start doing that, boom, I'm like, oh my gosh, this person's wonderful. Why I keep thinking all these negative thoughts? You see how the adversary is really slick? Always trying to put stumbling blocks on you, because sometimes when you're trying to be happy, having a great time, and boom, he needs to toss something at you because he knows it doesn't want you to be happy. So you gotta be strong in the verses, and then you build up your spirit, and that way you can defeat anything. And you're gonna notice these things, okay? And once you hear it and you notice it, you say, you know what? Shut up. Shut up. You hear negative thoughts, shut up. And you feel your emotions coming up, shut up. And you know what? Another thing is that in my particular coaching, I like to teach people Bible verses, because that will help you remove yourself from the stories you tell yourself about the flesh. And we try to focus on the spiritual self. You renew your mind with the verses, right? You take out the trash, you empty up whatever in your head. Remember, those like little viruses, things that you learn, right? When you absorb these things, these bad thoughts, they're viruses in your head. Just think about it that way. Viruses in your head, parasites, eating up all the good nutrients, all right? So that's why you got to build up your spirit. So when that comes, you know how to recognize it, and you just squish it. And that's how you become even stronger in the spirit. And that's what I do. So let's go to Matthew 6:19. So Matthew 6:19, I'm going to read Matthew 6:19 to 21 and then 23. Lay not up for yourself treasures upon earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt. Heard that? Lay not for yourself treasures upon earth. Okay? Where moth rust doeth corrupt, where thieves break through and steal. Do you know what treasures are? Treasures are your thoughts. Yes. And that's what this verse says. Lay not up yourself treasures upon earth. And this is the treasures on the earth. And those are, it moth and it rust. You hear that? And rust doeth corrupt. You hear that? Where thieves break through and steal. So don't put your treasures, your thoughts on this of the world, the physical things of the flesh. Okay? So don't worry about the cars, the money, things like that. I know they're all material things, but it's good. It's nice to have them, but don't lay your thoughts on that. Oh, I must have this. I must have that, because those things will rot. All right, and that's what it's talking about. So, but lay up for yourself treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doeth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. Because the thief is the adversary. It's not going to go to heaven and steal anything, because he's not allowed there. You see? So that's why you keep your treasures on heavenly things. Got it? So I hope that makes sense. Okay. So where your treasure, and this is 33. Matthew 6:33. Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. Wherefore your treasure there is, where your treasure is, your thoughts are, there will also your heart be. Oh my gosh. So whatever your thoughts are lay on, okay, you're thinking about the treasures of the earth or the treasures of heaven, that's where your heart's going to be. So where do you want your heart to be? Right? You want to focus on the godly things, the loving things, the positive things, or you want to focus on the negative things, the wicked things, the things that's going to rust and it's going to be corrupt, and that's where thieves come. Think about that. All right. So I already said that treasures mean your thoughts. So keep your heart centered on God by keeping Him first, and do not allow anything to come before God or idolize someone or something above Him. See, God's not going to let us down, but people will let us down. So you always put God first, right? Remember what I told you? Example, if you're dating someone and you're so in love with them, but if they don't put God first, right? And if you are with them, and that's why they said don't want to be unevenly yoked. If they don't put God first, and if you're with that person, you will put that person first in front of God, and that's the treasures of this world. So you see that? So you want to make sure you put God first on anything, all right? Because if someone who idolizes and love God first, they're going to love you first, because those are the laws. They will take heed to the laws, right? They're going to love all the laws of God, and that's where you want to stick to. All right. Okay, let's go to Ephesians 4:31 and 32. Ephesians 4:31. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice, and be ye kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as God for Christ's sakes hath forgiven you. So you see that? Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with malice. So be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving, even as God for Christ's sake has forgiven you. So many times, right, we're going to have people who hurt our feelings. It could be our friends, our family member. I'm pretty sure we all have them. I do too. Okay, just to be honest. And just forgive. What's the point to be bitter and angry? Because that is going to steal from you. All right, and it's going to cause sicknesses and diseases. Because wherever your thought goes, your heart goes, and your heart affects your body. You know that, right? So you hear many times people, they have issues forgiving, and they end up getting really sick and have diseases. And it's because they're holding on to those sicknesses, because their thoughts are there. That's where their hearts are, right? So you keep angry, yelling at someone. Every time you think about them, they trigger you. You get so mad and worked up. That's where your heart is, all right? But if you just let that go, I know there's people that hurt us, but you can always love them for a distance. You don't have to be near them, but just forgive them. Don't hold it to your heart. You gotta tell everybody in the world how this person hurt you and blah, 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 blah. It doesn't solve anything. So just pray for them. Let it go. Maybe one day they'll know. Especially if they're not bad people at all. Because we all make mistakes, right? But remember, God forgive you for all your inequities, right? And you're going to tell me that you're perfect? Right. You're perfect, right? So we all receive forgiveness. And because of that, forgive whoever who hurt you. Every day, every night, renew your mind, take out the trash, throw it out. Okay, you go recycle it, whatever you want to do. You could throw it out bit by bit. Journal it down, whatever you feel like, how that person make you feel. And you can write a letter, how you forgive them. All right, because that is going to create more happiness in your life. Because when you're carrying something in you and when someone else does something else, that you are going to get triggered. And because of that, it's going to get you worked up again. Remember, whatever is in your head, you hold it in your heart. Okay? So you decide where you want your treasures to be. In heaven or on this earth, okay? So you got to protect your thoughts, because could you imagine if you know that you're about to get this treasure chest, right? You're private. Wait, you're what? A private? I forgot what those called. Those private. Oh my gosh. Pirates. Yes, pirates. Oh my goodness. It's my native tongue, so sometimes there's some words that I can't say, but that was hilarious. Pirates. Okay? Just think about that. You are a pirate and you're about to take this treasure. What do you want in that treasure? Huh? Do you want a treasure that's going to be rot, has dust and corrupted? Or you want a treasure that's going to have all these gold and diamonds and happiness and love, bunch of great energy, vibing out? Or do you want a treasure that's rusted? Like once you touch it, you'll get lead poison, So you see, so be careful. Your treasure is your thoughts. What do you want your treasure to be? So why don't you journal that? What do you want your treasure to be? Okay? All right, let's go to the next. Colossians 3:12 to 15. Colossians. Put on therefore, as the elect of God, holy and beloved, bowels of mercy, kindness, humbleness of mind, meekness, long-suffering, forbearing one another, and forgiving one another. If any man have a quarrel against any, even as Christ forgave you, so also do ye. Remember, right? What our sins were forgiven, right? When Christ took all our sins away and he died for you. So remember that. I know it's tough, but remember all the things you committed, all the inequities, you, right? Because you made perfect now. So just try to remember that. If you want to be forgiven of that, you gotta forgive other people as well, because I'm pretty sure you probably did worse than them. And I know you're not Jesus Christ or anything, but at least you can be close. And the next step higher up is getting into enlightenment. How do you get enlightenment, right? Living in the Spirit, see? All right, so I'm going to read 3:15. And above all these things, put on charity, which is the bond of perfectness. So you can love other people and do so many great things, but you got to put on charity. And what does that mean? Put on charity is the love of God. Okay, that's why people call charity. Hey, do you want to give charity? It's the love of God. All right, because if you don't have the love of God, you have nothing. It doesn't mean anything. You can go help save the poor, the whole poor's family, but you still have to know who you're giving the glory to, who made you, who created you, who gave you everything that we have around us. And I know you would say, no, my parents gave me this, I work for this, I work for that. But God made it possible, remember? So you always want to give God the glory, and you got to have the love for God, okay? And let the peace of God rule in your hearts, to which also ye are called one body, and ye be thankful. That's right. Ye be thankful. Okay. So, boom. Oh, if you guys want to talk about forgiveness, remember Joseph in Genesis. So Joseph was the son of, oh my God, Israel, Jacob Israel, okay? And he had a bunch of brothers, and his oldest brother didn't want to kill him. They wanted to kill him, but then they didn't want to kill him. So they threw him in the hole, and they sold him as slaves. Remember Joseph? And then he became, is it the second in the command in Egypt, okay? He was put in prison, and but he knew all these things were supposed to be. It was meant to be, because if he was never put in prison, he would never create those bonds with the pharaohs and stuff, and he would never became the second in command in Egypt. All right, and he forgave his brothers. You know, so that is, you can call it fable, whatever, a true story. So I just wanted to share that, so if you like to read Joseph, it's a really good story about Joseph as well. It's so interesting. I actually love the Old Testament because there's so many juicy drama in there, so many juicy details, and how the Pharaoh's wife tried to seduce him, and he did not want her, and then she reported him and lied on him and said he raped her because she grabbed his garment or something like that. He ran towards Potiphar, and then he got sent to jail again. You see, so I just want to share that, and Joseph is a really great story to read. All right, so let me see. Okay, Matthew 13:20 and 21. But he that received the seed into stony places, the same is he that heareth the word, and anointing with joy receiveth it. Yet hath he not root in himself, but dureth for a while. For when tribulation or persecution arises because of the word, by and by he is offended. Do you know what that means? Oh my God, I love it. So all these verses are all King James versions, because we like to use them because many of the Bible have a lot of inaccuracies, and so does the King James version. But the King James version has the least, and sometimes we do use verses from other Bibles. There's like 5 and 6 of them, I believe. Right, the New King James version, the New English one, things like that. But when it keeps being translated, it gets more watered down, and then you don't get the true meaning of it. So let me read this to you again. But he that receiveth the seed in stony places, the same he hath heard the word, and anointing with joy receive it. So, example. Oh, this is a great example. Well, someone said, okay, do you want to learn how to manifest? Yes, affirmation. And he said, I am wealthy, I am wealthy, I am wealthy. I am happy. Money comes easily to me. Money comes easily to me. Or whatever it is that you desire, right? You say, and you hear. Or let's just say someone told you about that. Okay, cool. But then you never exercised it. And then you know what happened? That's stony ground. You hear it. Oh, yeah, that sounds wonderful. And that's what that means, okay, on stony grounds, all right? And he had not rooted in himself endured for a while. So it means that it's not rooted. You did not plant that seed. It's not rooted in you. You're not embodied in it, okay? You just hear it. It's like going the one ear through the other ear. That's what that means, okay? So endure for a while, for when tribulation, persecution arises because of the word, by and by he is offended. So if you, let's just example some of these verses, right? And I know it's going to take a while. I'm still dealing with it as well, okay? So I'm not going to judge you or anything, but this is why we keep working on it, right? So you hear it and you're not embodying it, and then boom, and you get offended, right? You're easily to go back, oh my God, this person, ho, blah, 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 or somebody drive by and cut you off, or they're driving super slow, and you sit in there, and now you have road rage, right? And that's what the adversary loves. He's taking notes like, yes, you're pleasing him right now. You're getting angry and mad, beep, 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 because that's the adversary. He likes anger as heat, right? So remember that who you're pleasing, who are you making happy at that moment when you're acting like a deranged fool, when you're angry, right? And how do you feel? That does not feel good, does it? Or maybe temporarily? For me, no. I actually don't have road rage anymore. Once in a blue moon, when someone does something stupid and crazy, I'm like, oh, idiot. Then I just like, okay, calm down. Like I listen to my music, then I just, speak in tongues, blah, 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 and just let it go. So that's what I do. So remember that, okay? Like during tribulations and persecution arises because of the word. By and by, he's offended. All right. So, okay, I already said that. Let's go to Ephesians 3:16-20. Oh, one of my favorite verses in here. So, okay, Ephesians 3:16-20. That he would grant you according to the riches of his glory to be strengthened with might by his Spirit in the inner man, that Christ might dwell in your hearts by faith, that ye be rooted and grounded in love. Won't you love that, right? That he will grant you according to the riches of his glory to be strengthened with might by his Spirit in the inner man. So remember, God is spirit, right? So you worship God, you worship in spirit. And the practice and stuff in the Bible and the study is actually teaching you to become more spiritual. Because when you're more spiritual, you're not going to let the flesh dictate how you feel, dictate what you do, and you won't be a slave to the lust. And that is like the whole purpose of it. It's almost like being enlightened, right? So the more you get into the spirit, building up your spiritual self, you will not let the treasure of this world, right, be in your heart. And then you will not be dictated and be influenced by the lust of the world. Got it? So keep that in mind. So may be able to comprehend with all saints what is the breadth and length and depth and height, and to know the love of Christ which passeth knowledge, that ye might be filled with all of the fullness of God. Now unto him that's able to do exceeding and abundantly above all we ask or think, according to a power that worketh in us. Okay, let me read this quick little paragraph. Look at how important it is that we not fall into the trap of offense. We don't want to miss out on the great power and abundance available to us. God says we can be rooted and grounded in love. He's able to do exceeding abundantly above all we ask or think. We have great freedom in Christ. So I want to go back to that really quickly. So that verse, Ephesians 3:20, is one of my favorite verses. And I picked that on our 2020 conference. And let me go back to that. Now unto him that's able to do exceeding abundantly above all we ask or think. So it says now unto him. What does that mean, right? Does that mean you gotta wait until you do something? Wait until something happens? Wait until you feel better? Wait until you be a better person? Wait until something must happen for you to do exceedingly abundantly? No. Now means now. Okay? Excuse me. Now means now. So remember that. And now unto him that's able to do exceeding abundantly above all we ask or think. Above all you ask or think. What are you asking for and what are you thinking? Are you thinking for good things? Are you thinking about bad things? And what are you asking for? Right? I want you to think about that. What are you asking for? Now, according to the power that worketh in us. And some people, if you're watching, you're not a Christian, what power do you have in you? Okay? So if you're working with God's power, the Almighty, that's the highest power of them all. Are you working on yourself, your flesh power, the human power? Because the human power can only do human things, right? But if you have spiritual power, that takes you on a different level, on a higher level that you can even take yourself. So I want you to keep that in mind, okay? So what power are you working with? All right, so there's another favorite verse, Philippians 4, 6, and 7. Okay, so I'm going to read this. Be careful. It actually means be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplications with thanksgiving, let your requests made known unto God. Woo-hoo-hoo. And this is actually one of my favorite verse, because like from work and everything, I have a very high stressful job. And when my job is, I am in the commercial and business sale. So it could be like a roller coaster, you know? And even just, not just commercial, even on the real residential side, because our commissions could be up here and down here if you don't make it. And sometimes, you know, we do not live we live paycheck to paycheck. We don't get paid every month. But every month we have fees, okay? I'm telling you this, like, sometimes I feel like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling worried and stuff like that. But you know what? I leave it to God. I'm like, okay, be anxious for nothing. Be anxious for nothing. And I just, in my gratitude journal, everything that I'm thankful for, everything that I'm thankful for. And after that, I feel so much better. You know, because the one thing we could do is, you know, we cannot change what is going to happen or what happened, but we can always change how we feel, right? And that's when you become strong in the spirit. You will not let those things bother you. And again, the treasure of the world. Am I going to make the money? Am I going to make rent? Okay. Am I going to get car note pay? The treasure of the world. Are you going to keep your treasure on in heaven? Because I'm thinking about heavenly things, not being anxious because I'm thankful. Things like that. It keeps the anxiety out. And I'm not that stressed and I feel better. And sometimes, you know what? And one thing I hate that people, oh, God wants me to do this or God put me there. No, bullshit. Oops, sorry. You put yourself there. Every little thing you do is a choice. You got to remember that, right? Because if you did everything that God told you to do, you would be fine. You wouldn't have to worry about anything. You wouldn't even care about the material stuff. You'd probably just hop from houses to houses and just minister to people. Got it? You don't need to have a house. You don't need to have a car. You can walk everywhere like they used to do back then, right? As long as you're healthy, right? You got legs, you got arms. I'm only speaking to people with legs and arms. And if you don't, I'm so sorry. I apologize. But you know what I mean, okay? So I want you to keep that in mind. That helped me so much, alleviate so much pain and suffering. That particular verse. Be anxious for nothing, but with everything, with supplication, with thanksgiving. give-ins, and let your request made unto God. Like, oh my gosh. Hoo, 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 hoo. Wait, where's the verse that I was reading? Oh, jeez Louise. Oh, okay. It was right here. All right. With that, let your requests made known to God, and the peace of God, which passes all understanding, shall keep your hearts and mind through Christ Jesus. And the peace of God. And that's what I got. I have peace, because when you're worried, it's very hard to operate in a certain way. When you're stressed, thinking about when the next rent is going to be here, when the next time you're going to get paid, so tough to operate in faith. But you got to keep the faith, because sometimes it's not even God. And I hate when people say, God do this, God test. Oh, no, God does not test you, and God does not make people sick. You do that because of the choices that you made, and you know what I mean. God did not kill your family members. They did not. It's from their choices. And if your family member passed away, I always say this, wow, they're lucky. They get to fall asleep and wait for the Lord. They don't have to worry about this world, suffer, things like that. So if anything, you should be jealous, not sad for them. You should be jealous and happy for them that they can go to sleep and just wait for that day. Sleeping peacefully. I'm pretty sure many people would not mind going peacefully, lay down, right? And just wait for that day instead of wake up every day, going through the everyday life, working, getting ends meet, dealing with people, like things like that. So you see what I'm getting here? So that's why I wanted to share. So Philippians 4:8. Oh my gosh, all these wonderful verses in here. I'm telling you guys. Oh, I want to hear what you guys are saying. You make sure you like, share, subscribe, okay? And share this with someone that you feel like needs to hear this message. Philippians 4:8. Oh my goodness. Okay. Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue and if there be any praise, think on these things. Oh my gosh. You see, when you hear people say these things like law of attraction, gratitude journal, you know what? The source is the Bible, right? Like, hello, not your motivational speaker. And I love Tony Robbins, not Tony Robbins, not Rob Proctor. Like, the source came from God himself. And that's the strongest power ever. So do you want to counterfeit, or you want to go directly to the source? I'm going to say this one more time. Philippians 4:8. Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are good report, if there be any virtue and if there be any praise, think on these things. All right, that's like your gratitude journal. Whatever's pure, whatever's just, whatever's true. Think on these things, and that's going to help you get you away from the treasure of the darkness, the treasure of the world, okay? This is going to alleviate so much pain when you focus on the positive. And I know a lot of women are like that too, right? When, the guy does something wrong, he could do 100 things right. When he do one or two things, oh, you always do that. You always do that. And the men get offended all the time. And I'm guilty of that. I do that many times. I do that oftenly. So focus on these things. Journal. This is like gratitude journal for you. Hello. So, okay, I'm going to read this little paragraph here too. Don't allow ourselves to get boxed in with negatives about a person or situation that may come our way. We can't control what others think, but we can choose to think the wonderful, uplifting things of God. This prevents us from being boxed into and trapped with various emotions. Thinking on these things help us deeply root ourselves in the Word and to love Him without distraction. We can get so rooted in the word and in our love for God that absolutely nothing makes us stumble. That's so beautiful, isn't it? Wow. All right, let's go to Psalms 119, 165. This book has so many wonderful verses, and I taught on this many, many times. And I love this, one of my favorite topics. Because you know what? I was always easily hurt, easily offended. I was very sensitive, you know. I'm still probably still sensitive, but I'm able to just, it does it all. Because it doesn't belong here. It doesn't belong here. It doesn't belong here. Because those are not the charges that I want when I open up my brains. I want my brains to be like shining bright lights with gold and treasures, yummy stuff, good vibes, right? That's what I want when you open up my brains, not rust and moth. It's corrupted and it's dark. I don't want that, okay? I forgot where I was going with that, but just want to let you know that. Okay, so Psalms 119, 165. Great peace have they which love thy law, which is thy word, okay? And nothing shall offend them. That means make them stumble. Great peace have they which love thy law. Great peace. And nothing shall offend them. Isn't that wonderful? Wow. So you love the word, nothing will offend you. I know it sounds so easy, right? Okay. So we're going to go to how to walk with a great peace and freedom. All right. It's so many great verses. Almost done here, but I'm pretty sure you guys are loving this. I hope you're loving this. Let me know what you think. Let's go to Romans 14, 13, and then 19 to 22. All right. Let us not therefore judge one another anymore, but judge this rather, that no man put a stumbling block or an occasion to fall in his brother's way. I just have to sit back and think about that, okay? Did you just hear that? I'm going to say this one more time. Let us therefore judge one another anymore, but judge this rather, that no man put a stumbling block or an occasion to fall in his brother's way. I had to think about this because this really hit hard for me many times, okay? And it's not that because I'm trying to do something mean or whatever to, you know, our brothers and sisters, right? Talk about like the household children of God. Sometimes we do things and yes, it could be a little spiteful and we could just do unintentionally, intentionally, and subconsciously, but not, let's just say you did not purposely do it, right? Just remember that, whoa, that a lot of times when I read some verses, I don't know about you, but it truly hit home and remind me of things. And sometimes with me, when I hear say something bad about another person, I don't go back to the other person unless it's not going to harm them and hurt them. I feel like there's no point because you're just drawing up pain. That is a stumbling block, right? And I would keep thinking about things that maybe I should tell this person, blah, 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 little things that I hear. And like, you know what? Don't do that. Don't do that to each other. Okay? So if you're listening right now, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Do not go back. He say this, they say that, or you know someone is that may hurt a specific person, or you want to bust on them, you want to make fun of them because you're jealous or you're feeling some type of way, or you don't want them to be happy. Could you just think about that, please? I want you to take it back and stop and do it no more. And that's a good practice. That is one of the biggest verses that I'm gonna put on top of my forehead. Because sometimes we deal with our family members, friends, co-workers, and sometimes You know, they may do and say things that kind of like make you want to throw a dagger back at them. You know what I mean. So please, let me read this one more time. Let us therefore judge one another anymore, but judge this rather, that no man put a stumbling block or an occasion to fall in his brother's way. Let us therefore follow after the things which make for peace, and things wherewith one may edify another. Whew. Okay, if you're a person that like to uplift each other, and that's me, I like to uplift one another. Okay, I'm a peacemaker. All right, and I love to edify one another. I'm always trying to up level and help my friends out. So I want you to think about that. Okay, so whatever you're doing, your friend, family, friends, or whatever, think about that. You know, do things to edify one another, help each other grow, even though that person may never contribute back, or help you or repay you back the way you would like, because your blessing will come from other sources. Just remember that, okay? Just because you do something to someone and you don't get a repay, or they don't recognize it, and that's a lot of us, don't feel bad. Just let it go and just know that God got you. And many times, I used to do things for people before. I always get upset. Oh, they're ungrateful, that this and that. I'm going to stop being me. And you know what? Then I woke up one day and said, you know what? I'm not going to do that. Because someone told me, wow, you're always lucky. You're always lucky. And I was thinking, you know what? I'm not lucky. It's because I actually do good for other people. So it's really not because I'm lucky. Because I deserved it. And even though it may not came from the same person I gave it back to, it's not a two-way street, but you'll get it in other ways. So I just want to keep that in mind, okay? So I'm going to another verse here. Thirteen, 19. Okay, Romans 14, this is probably 19. No, this is probably at 20 or 20. Sorry. For me to destroy not the work of God. All things indeed are pure, but it is evil for that man who eateth with offense. For me to destroy not the work of God. All things indeed are pure, but it is evil for that man who eateth with offense. It is good neither to eat flesh, nor to drink wine, nor anything whereby thy brother stumbleth, or is offended, or is made weak. It is good neither to eat flesh, nor to drink wine, nor anything whereby thy brother stumbleth, or is offended, or is made weak. Hast thou faith? Have it to thyself before God. Happy is he that condemneth not himself in that thing which he alloweth. Okay, so I'm going to read the Amplified verse, because it's kind of like something that you have to read, take in, and digest it. And it was kind of like sound a little oxymoron sometimes from verses. This is the Amplified version. Romans 14, 13, and then 19 to 22. Let us no more criticize and blame and pass judgment on one another, but rather decide and endeavor never to put a stumbling block or an obstacle or a hindrance in the way of a brother. So let us then definitely aim for and eagerly pursue what makes for harmony, for mutual upbuilding, edification, and development of one another. You must not forsake of food, undo and break down and destroy the work of God. Everything is indeed ceremonial, clean, and pure, but it is wrong for anyone to hurt the conscience of others or to make them fall by what he eats. The right thing is to eat no meat or drink no wine at all, or do anything else if it makes your brother stumble or hurt his conscience, or offends or weakens him. Your personal convictions on such matters, exercise them as in God's presence, keeping them to yourself, striving only to know the truth and obey his will. Blessed, happy to be envied is he who has no reason to judge himself for what he approves, who does not convict himself by what he chooses to do. So the Judean culture had dietary laws which are strictly enforced, especially in the distinction between animals that were considered clean and unclean. With the liberty born again believers receive in Christ, these laws are no longer necessary, but we are not to judge one another and be critical of those who may not fully understand these liberties. Oh, okay, yeah, got it. So remember when things, they call it clean and unclean, but under the administration of Christ, it doesn't apply anymore. So that's like another story, but I just wanted to share that. So we are going to end it here. So, okay, well, let me read this, all right? As we lovingly consider others, the action we take will be edifying and make for peace. Our personal convictions regarding our liberty in Christ should never be used to make judgment or to be critical of others in their walk with God. What's most important is that we move together in the Word. We do know and not focus on things that can distract us from living the Word. We learn not to cause others to stumble as we faithfully do God's Word. And we never allow any offense to slow us down and prevent us from walking in the power that God has made available to us. And we also do not put a stumbling block on others as well. So, all right. I hope you guys, everyone, brothers and sisters, enjoy this. And they may call brother and man. It relates to all of us. So don't get offended because they didn't add sisters in here. That's what it's called back then. And back then, they're very limited on their wording. So, so that you guys know that. And if you're, you are actually child of God, I know you're not offended. But just wanted to say that. So anyways, yes, like, share, subscribe. I am your Christian life coach, and I help people manifest their desires with God, with God's power, and also build your self-worthiness, build your spirit, so you can focus on being stronger in the spirit, and you will not be torn down by the weakness of the flesh and be influenced of the flesh, okay? So, all right, everyone, take care, and I'll see you on the next. Bye.